All hail the King of Northumberland.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review for another transfer show with myself and Alex. First of all, thank you to everybody for all the get well messages. I've had quite a rough time the last few days with the illness, but feel much better today. So onwards and upwards, as they say. And just to the guy who put a comment under my video earlier on today saying that I'd obviously been away for a few days holiday. And the fact I was buying a new electric car was he made some sort of jibe at the channel for the donation. So I'd just like to say to him, thanks very much for that. Pleased you found the channel. But by the way, the car's on mobility, and yeah, I've got a family mate, so if I was to go away on holiday or by myself, I'd be a bit of a sad man, but never mind. But thank you to everybody else for all the well wishes, and good evening to everybody, apart from feckin' Steve Bruce. But I've obviously had my say on him earlier, and I've calmed down a bit since then, since reading the article. What did you think of it, Alex? Did you see the article?
I briefly saw it, but I'm going to follow Henry Winter's advice. That's strike 2. If I get a strike 3, then I will comment on it.
Yeah.
But you know, that's, well, I'll leave it alone for now, and we'll see if as long as if he moves on, then we're happy to move on. But he can't keep coming back to us. He needs to get on with his life.
Yeah, you've got more patience than me, mate. That's a certainty, because I couldn't hold back. When I read it, I thought, wow, you know, Steve Bruce saying that it was because of him. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been taken over. Absolute joke. Couple of we've got Mitch in, by the way, from an Arsenal side of things to talk about our first guy who's on the list. Mitch is kindly joining us for 10 minutes to go through what he thinks of this particular player. We'll bring him in shortly. Marx has just heard Paul ranting about Steve Bruce, and rightly so, but I wish you'd stop sitting on the fence. Yeah, well, I tend to do that. Bloody good rant at tea time. Saw the article and thought you might have something to say. Nice one. Now that Wales have qualified for the World Cup, will that make us a good option for Bale to get more game time? You'll have to see later on in the show. Good evening, Spider. I'm here to listen to him to go off like a Claymore Brucey. I don't know if I've got anything else to say on him, to be honest. I think I said what I had to say. Hitmarker, good evening. Austin says, evening all. Yeah, Bill would be nice, please, as I'm Welsh and a Newcastle fan, but I think he'll play at Cardiff. Well, he has mentioned that, hasn't he? If he doesn't get in the Premier League, he's going to go to Cardiff.
Well, Ryan Reynolds is reportedly dropping little jokes.
Oh yeah, for Wrexham, man. Yeah. Good luck to him for that. Gary says, evening, Paul and Alex. Hope you feel much better, Paul. Evening, everyone in the chat. Jordan says, just watch the Steve Bruce video, please. Can you tweet one of the new owners and ask whether they'd taken over Newcastle if we'd have been relegated? It'd be interesting to send Brucey here a reply. Well, I sent Brucey a reply with that video. Simple as that. I hate him. Even though I hope everyone is okay. Just seeing Bruce's comments. Unreal man. The bloke has to be the funniest man in football since Kinnear, and that's saying something. In fact, he's probably worse, to be honest. Hello, Rene. Looking forward to the show. Good evening, Jason. Albie says, evening, everyone. Looking forward to the show. John says, just been catching up on latest, apparently preparing a £55 million bid for Diaby and being told 85 million Victor Osimhen, any know if he's worth it. Well, Arsenal have pulled out of that, apparently. Julie says, good evening all. Enjoy the show. Great to see you back, Paul. Keep it respectful. Hit the like and subscribe. Indeed. We've had nearly 100 subscribers today, which is unreal. Someone just mentioned Bruce and see what he says. Let's not, because my blood pressure's calmed down. Evening, everyone. Billy done mint with the last few live streams. Indeed, he did. And a big thank you to Billy because he stepped in and also did the historical watch-along yesterday for the Man United game. And I thought he did. It was brilliant. It brought back a lot of memories. It was brilliant. Jordan says, Paul's my hero. How on earth he holds back from swearing, I don't know. But in view of opinion of the true meaning of a Geordie fan, the sheer passion for the club he has is unquestionable. F. Bruce. I never swear. I'm not renowned for that. And Alex, you'll back me up on that. I'm normally a very quietly spoken guy. Yeah, I can see you grinning. Evening, guys. Diaby, Paqueta, Botman, Loddy, and Oshiman. This just keeps getting better and better. Pulling the head right off it now. How are the lads? My bet's looking better and better to win the Premier League. Chill out. Hi, everyone. Billy did good standing in. Hope Paul feeling better. Roll another good night. Thomas, good evening. Modern away there backstage. Tom says, hi, everyone. Seems Twitter is going into meltdown about several deals not happening. Just chill. Look, before we bring Mitch in, I'd just like to comment on this because I don't know what's going on, but this seems to have gone mental, more mental than it ever has been, with literally thousands of people claiming, such and such is signed. This guy's coming in. This guy's signed. The only time that somebody will sign for Newcastle is when they make that official. When it is official from the club, that means they've signed for Newcastle United. Until then, nobody has signed. It's as simple as that. And I've said all along this, coming into this summer and the end of the season, that we as a channel, we are not going to go with any rumours or anything like that saying, such and such is here for a medical, or he's been seen here, he's been seen there. We're getting this guy on a such and such a deal. We are talking about the players on these transfer shows that have been linked in the media, talking about the stats and whether they'll fit into Newcastle United. We're not saying for 1 second that these players are coming in. We're just looking at it and creating a bit of conversation amongst you guys out there, which is all we're doing. I've seen people doing videos saying, welcome to Newcastle, Hugo Ekiteke. Why? How can you say that? He hasn't signed. There's nothing official. And, all these other players that are apparently flying into Newcastle, it's ridiculous. People need to stop. And Adam Pearson did a fantastic video yesterday about a certain channel, Newcastle United official TV. They're the biggest ones out there. How they are still going, I do not know. But there's certainly going to be some legality somewhere down the line to them, because it's some stupid woman's iPhone voice or a man's voice and claiming that we're signing everybody. I mean, the ones claimed we're signing bloody Mbappe. It's never going to happen. So, let's just see what happens. Let's just roll with it. Talk about the players that we're being linked to. Fair enough. But don't go saying, welcome, big signing, this and that. Just see what happens. And then when they do sign officially, we'll talk about it. Simple as that. But we'll get Mitch in. Good evening, Mitch.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you for having me today.
You're very, very welcome. Now, you're on. You've been talking to Alex earlier on today. Would just tell the guys where you're from and what you do online.
Yeah, so I'm from Colorado in the United States. I've been writing about Arsenal for nearly a year now, and I write officially for Fansided, their Arsenal site, The Pain in the Arsenal.
Pain in the Arsenal. It has been quite a pain in the Arsenal for quite some time now. Right, but this guy has been linked again. Alex?
Yeah, so I got in contact with Mitch after reading an interesting article when I was digging and looking into Mr. Pepe here. So he has been linked with us in the last sort of 2 to 3 days by a few journalists, a few in the know people. So regardless, I don't know what's right and what's wrong, but because his name keeps coming up, we'll at least entertain the idea and have a little look. I don't know how likely this is because there seems to be a lot of other priorities in front of this, but we'll see. So instant reaction was, oh God, no, please no, absolutely no, 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 no. But you can't just do that. You have to give it a fair try. So he plays on the right, typically left-footed. We are requiring that position. We need somebody to fill a gap of more quality on the right wing who is left-footed because, Eddie Howe likes to play that inverted winger. He's strong-ish, reasonable. He's bigger than Miggy and Fraser to a level. international caps, not played a whole lot this season. If it lets me scroll down and have a look at his output. Now, these aren't the most impressive ones, and it is for the whole year, so it's not just for this season. It's 365 days against the Big Five leagues. So important things I took from this are his crosses is only 1.4 per 90, and key passes is also fairly low. But I don't know exactly if that's on purpose or not, because if people remember Arsenal, there was a big hoo-ha about they were crossing a million times and not scoring from it. And there was a big thing in post-match interviews from Arteta saying, oh, we crossed it 30 times and we're just getting unlucky. And there was a bit of a transition into stopping that because it just wasn't working at all. And then they moved away from their strikers. I mean, Mitch, correct me if I'm wrong. This is just generally what it seems like's been happening.
Yeah, and
2 seconds just before you comment there, Mitch. We just had a couple of super chats in.
Yeah, no problem.
$8.99 from J Clough Jr. Thank you very much. Good to see you back to your best. And hi, Stato. And we've had £5 from Austin. Thank you very much. Top Night, Hell in the Cell pay-per-view and Toon review. Glad to see you back, Paul. Thanks very much. Go on, Mitch.
Yeah, so when it comes to Pepe and crossing, it's kind of something I touched on a little bit in the article. And one of his weak points is definitely how one-footed he is. So primarily he's played off of the right wing for Arsenal. He almost exclusively uses his left foot. So unlike Bukayo Saka, who's able to cut in on his left and take a shot and also cut in towards the byline and cross with his right foot, Pepe is kind of unable to do that. So it kind of makes sense that his crosses per 90 would be really, really low because he isn't able to take a lot of crosses because of just how one-footed of a player he is.
Yeah. So it's essentially Maxi, but like Saint Maximum, but not quite as much flair in theory. I mean, maybe that's harsh on Pepe, but I do feel like Maxi's got a little bit more flair and dribbliness in him. The stats seem to support that. So that's the first danger. If I'm trying to be positive about it, his passes under pressure are very good, nearly 9 per 90, 83rd percentile. His progressive carries are very good, dribbles completed, ball recoveries. His aerials one is very high in the 96th percentile for somebody on the wing. There's a lot there to work with. People saying he's 27, nearly 28. That's not true. He was 27 last week. So he's only just turned 27. So he is bang on peak in theory. Similar players, statistic. I mean, I can scroll down. I don't need to read them. So he keeps good company with that profile with Kingsley Coman, Rodrigo, Ziyech, Lozano, Luis Diaz as well, and Martinelli from Arsenal specifically. So he does match some good players. So, and as Mitch has already stated, it feels like Maxi to a level, but then there's not as much. He doesn't have as much in terms of what to do with it, decision making. Once he's done that cut in, at least Maxi either has a soft shot or puts somebody in or squares it to somebody else, or loses the ball, which does happen. So I also
I'm struggling with Pepe. I really am. I mean, Mitch, for all us Newcastle United fans, is there any reason why we would get excited about possibly signing Pepe?
Yeah, I mean, like there's a reason that Arsenal spent 72 million on him. Like he is a talented player. Like he has shown that he's shown times in which he can be a really talented player. And when he's playing in a different system, like he has with the Ivory Coast, he's been a lot better with that. So I think what I was saying with him being very one-footed, when he comes in onto his left, he can take a really nice shot. However, by being that one-footed, it makes him a little bit predictable, where it makes defenders a lot easier to be able to cut that angle off and not do as much to you don't have to worry about him cutting towards the byline because of the one-footedness. But I think because Arsenal plays in more of a progression-based system and a keeping possession, it's been really hurtful to have Pepe on our side because the eye test, especially his ball retention, is just not there. When he's playing in more of a counterattacking system where he's playing higher up. He's playing on the last man, almost like a striker would, but on the wing. He's been really, really effective. And then also when he's just generally given space, anytime he has a fullback to overload with him or a midfielder to overload.
Just sounds like you're talking about St. Maximin. It really does.
It does.
It really does.
Yeah, so anytime he has that kind of space, he's been really, really effective. He's able to kind of show that ability in dribbling, but he's not as good as in those tight spaces. And especially in the Premier League, you don't get that as much as you do in League One. I do think for him, it would benefit a lot more from moving more abroad. But I think Newcastle would make sense in terms of a team that could bring on his wages and afford him and stuff like that. I do think he's a really solid player. Definitely does not fit at Arsenal and for what the winger is required to do. I think he's improved a lot in his work rate. He's tracking back a lot more. So that's been a plus from him. But I will say with statistical as well, he performs right at his XG. And he has for the last 5 years. So he's consistently performing how he's expected to, which is really good. That's what you want to see from a goal scoring winger. But I also think Arsenal's scouting department at that time did a really, really poor job at scouting him because he scored 22 odd goals in his last season with Lille. But 13 of those were from open play. And so Arsenal spent 72 million, like you're getting a 20 goal winger, but
they were penalties,
13 goal winger, which is what we ultimately got. So if we paid the price of a 13 goal winger, I think the general tune around Nicolas Pepe would be a lot different. But because he has that monster price tag, he's our record signing. He did not hit that margin at all. He scored 22 goals. He's going to immediately translate that to Arsenal. And that just didn't come true.
Yeah. If you paid 30 million for him, it'd have been fine. Nobody had been complaining, but it's the price tag. Absolutely. But what you said there, we are also in that position. I think Pepe for us, the season that's just finished would have been amazing, perfect for us. But the direction we're going in, we are also trying to play in that aggressive, dominating style, keeping more of the ball. And if he's struggling to play that way for you guys, that is the direction we're going in with 4-3-3s, 4-2-3-1s, more talented players. So if that's the general
this is my worry, Alex. You're talking about comparing him with St. Maximin, and the way Mitch was talking there, it could be describing him.
Yeah, and we can't help two.
We can't have two of
one.
them. Yeah, exactly, and that's my worry. Is there anything, before you go, Mitch, because I know you pushed for time, but is there anything different, do you think, to St. Maximin that Pepe has over St. Maximin, or do you think St. Maximin's probably slightly at present between the two the better player?
I do think that St. Maximin is the better player, but I do think Pepe has a better shot on him.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen some really, really impressive goals from Pepe. And, when he gets in decent areas with a decent amount of space, he's able to do some really special things. I think the issue is just when he doesn't get that. I'm curious to see how he does on the left wing particularly, but that is where St. Maximin plays. So for Arsenal in particular, I feel like he was pretty effective on the left wing because it didn't make him as predictable. He was able to kind of drive to the byline, get a cross off, and then also he could take a near post shot with his left foot. And he had a really, really good goal against Wolves a couple of years last season, not this season, but last season, where he kind of dribbled through a couple of defenders on the left side and scored a really nice goal at the near post. So he is a really good finisher, and his XG very much shows that. And I think that's the edge that he has over St. Maximin. But I think they're very similar players profile-wise to where I don't know if he would be a great signing for Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm not sure we could get much more out of him because my thought process was, well, how's good at improving players? But Arteta's wingers are all flying. You've all got very competent wingers who have progressed, and Pepe hasn't much. So that's the concern, is if Arteta can't do it, and he is a good coach, then can Howe do it? Possibly, maybe not.
Yeah.
That was the nail in the coffin for me. And I did have a chat with Pete Davey about it as well from Loaded, and he does not get the seal of approval. He gets a no as well. So no's around the board.
It's interesting. Listen, Mitch, thank you very much for coming on, giving a little bit of your time up. Hopefully get you back on the channel over the summer, and we'll talk hopefully a few more confirmed transfers and see how it's going at Arsenal as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And my Twitter is at Mitch Piotr, if anyone's interested in following me.
Yeah, I've
Thanks
just
so much
followed
for
you
having me
tonight there.
on.
So
And
yeah,
hopefully see you guys again soon.
great stuff. Thanks, Mitch. Take care, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Top man. So hopefully get Mitch on later on in the summer. Knows his stuff, loves his XG like Alex. He could basically be the American Alex. I think I missed a super chat there. I think it was Paul Connor. £4.49. There was no comment with it, but thank you very much for that. And we've had a super chat of £20 from Gary Hannon. Thanks, Gary, mate. Good evening, lads. I've been watching the Ukraine player last week against Scotland. Would you buy? I think he means Zinchenko with his superb ability through. Zinchenko's been mentioned a few times, and he's somebody that I really rate. And I would definitely have him at Newcastle. I think he's probably is a more forward player than I would playing him a left back as well. I think he's a very, very talented player.
Paul, I did have a ton of people asking me about that Mudryk guy, the youngster that got subbed on in both games for Ukraine. It's not on screen.
No,
but
that's fine.
he re-signed a contract extension with is it Don? I think it's Shakhtar Donetsk he plays for. He re-signed a contract extension until 2026.
Right.
So no, that's not going to happen. But yes, I did get everybody's message about Mikhailo Mudryk, and he's a decent young player, but he's not on any of our radars as far as I'm aware. So if he does become part of the conversation, then yeah, we'll check him out on the show. But yeah,
interesting. There is a few people asking about Botman in the chat. It looks like he's going to AC Milan. I think he's the way that he's been speaking and his reps have been speaking. It looks that way. Now, again, we don't know that for certain. If he goes to Milan, he goes to Milan. There's other options out there. But what we haven't got to do as Newcastle United fans is simply just press the panic button and think, oh, these players are going elsewhere. Newcastle will have their targets and they will be in for various players over the summer. But we haven't got to get carried away. We've just got to stay calm and let these guys do the job, do the work in bringing the players to the club. Dan says apparently something will be dropping tomorrow regarding the central midfielder. That is exciting, but it's not Paqueta or Eriksson. We'll see. Rachel, good evening. Hope you're well. Rachel mods obviously for the Loaded lads. I'm on the Loaded show tomorrow night from 8 o'clock with the guys. So keep that in your diaries. Should be a great show again. Talking about all things football and crazy capers, no doubt. So not the man flu then, Paul. No, it wasn't, Jules. Well, it was a little bit. I did have a cold, but not... when I pick up little bugs like that, sometimes, unfortunately, me Parkinson's symptoms really kick off, and I was just wiped me out. But that's part of living with the illness, I guess. When it gets too bad, I just want to hide away, basically, and let it pass. It is a bit scary at times because you think, oh God, is this taking a downward spiral in the illness? But I've been assured by the specialists that these things happen and not to panic. So on we go. Ellis says Billy did really well when he had to cover for you the other day with the Loaded boys on. I was really proud of him. Listen, Billy's absolute quality. And I texted him over the weekend and said how proud I am of him to handle it. He did a great job with the Loaded lads. He did a great job on the historical watch along. He is going to be doing more of them in the next couple of weeks. He was a little bit disappointed with the viewing figures, but listen, it doesn't matter. He was there to do a job, and he loved it. He loved doing that, and that's more important to me. The fact that Billy loved to do it, and it brought back a lot of memories for me, and certainly, the guys that were watching it in the chat and things like that, just reminiscing about that victory. And his commentary was brilliant. When you think about it, he's watched it like over 200 times, and it was made to feel like you were back in that match again with Billy commentating. So it was brilliant. And there'll certainly be more of them to come. Mason says, good to see you better, Paul. Wes says, hello, chaps. Good to see you back, Paul. Thank you very much. Suave says, Alex, is that a new camera or new adjustments or a new angle?
It's just all new angles because the room's pretty much finished painting it, so I can leave. So it's all the same stuff.
A clear conscience. Good evening, Andrew. Alfie, hi, guys. Who do you think will sign first? Oh, there's a question. Do you want to answer that, Alex?
I honestly have no idea. I was highly expecting to sign someone this week, and we shall see. People keep talking about Ekitike, and there's a lot of in the nose and not journalists from what I've seen. It just seems to be in the nose have come out doubting a lot of transfers. Fair enough. I'm not sure why that's come from. People doubting the progression of the Ekitike transfer specifically as well. But he's in this tournament. We've talked about this.
Yeah,
France
he's
have
not even
qualified for the
talking to
knockouts.
anybody at the minute.
I've tried to tweet the tournament and the website. I tweeted them in French today because nowhere on their Twitter or their website does it say when the semi-final or the final is of the Toon tournament, which has been rebranded as a new name. I've forgotten. It's the Maurice Ravello.
It's hashtag Frenchness tournament. We'll just stick to that.
But the tournament ends on the 12th. I don't know if that's the day of the final or if that's just when the tournament ends. So at the latest, he's going to be done on the 12th of June, which is 6 days from now. Whether there's going to be transfers in between within these next 6 days, I'm not sure. But there's the potential he's going to have to play a semi-final and a final and be part of that team. And if it doesn't allow for him to come and do transfer things, then it doesn't. It doesn't mean the transfer is not going to happen, but people are doing things. People are in tournaments. People are in youth cups. People are on holiday. I wouldn't worry about it. I'd just wait and see.
Yep. Caitlin and Nick said, I've seen Higuain on the metro going towards Newcastle this afternoon. He was eating a Greg's pasty wearing a Newcastle top. Welcome to Newcastle, Gonzalo. Yeah. You were scary tonight, Paul. I went back to retreated my comment about 2 rumours. Please don't hit me. Bandar says, Mr. Stato, if you want Loddy and Target together, watch Aaron Hickey. Yeah, we spoke about him before. I watched him
for Scotland, and he was awful at the back post.
He was, actually, yeah. Stiff Gator says, Pepe, oh, God, he gave the ball away to Murphy in that chance he squandered in the 2v1 versus Fraser. What's good, lads?
I'd just like to clarify, I do like Aaron Hickey. I just thought he was a bit bad defensively, but he is still a teenager, which is fair enough, you know.
Yeah. Ryan says, I don't know why fans wouldn't want Pepe. He's a good player and certainly better than all our right wings at the club. Mark says, look, fellas, just appreciate the fact that we are now away from Ashley and we should be happy that we are linked with quality players again. Absolutely. Absolutely. Evening, Jarl. Chi says, good morning, Paul, Alex, and Mitch. Singapore, 3 a.m. Made my coffee and to enjoy your show. Thanks, Chi. Really appreciate that serious dedication. That isn't at 3 o'clock in the morning, man. Jordan says, I'm sure whoever Newcastle sign it will be better than any of our recent transfer windows. Absolutely.
It's already better, and we've not signed anyone yet.
Yeah. I mean, Dan Ashworth, who, by the way, was confirmed in his role today, started the day as he had the Premier League sign off. So there you go.
Even though the Premier League listed him on their official website like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Which
strange,
is
isn't it?
weird.
Yeah. It's very, very weird. Alan says, can't happen till the 10th or sponsors are named. Yeah, don't click on official Newcastle TV. They have a sign everybody. Clickbait rubbish. Indeed it is. Pepe has been run into the ground by a shitty manager.
Well, I mean, every other winger's doing fine. So is it the player or is it the manager? And Brian's previous comment as well. Yeah, we do need an upgrade in positions, but they also need to fit the criteria of how we're going to start playing moving forward, because we're not going to be a counter-attacking relegation fighting team. We're progressing to being dominant on the ball. So just because it's an upgrade directly, does it also meet the criteria of progressing us as in the style? Probably not. So, do we want to take somebody that can't play the Arsenal way? Because they play quite attacking football, or they try to. So we want to play attacking football, and if Pepe can't hack it, then yeah,
absolutely, yep. Christopher says Tino Asprey has been seen in the big market. Jesus Christ. Mark says Pope from Burnley. Look, I mean, listen, if there's one keeper that I think will sign for Newcastle this summer, it's Dean Henderson. I think he has actually stated that he'd like to come to Newcastle, but again, it's negotiations, it's stuff like that, and we know what Man
We had
United are
another
like.
one, thrown. Who was it today that got thrown on the list? Was it Diogo? Oh God, what was his name?
Yeah,
The Porto goalkeeper got
the
thrown
Porto
in the name list as well.
I've
forgotten his surname, but
yeah,
it's gone. It's disappeared. Yeah, the goalkeeper show soon. We need to do one before we actually sign a goalkeeper as well. That would be nice.
Yeah,
I'll get on doing that.
You know what it is? There's a lot of people in the chat definitely don't want Pepe. That's
agree.
coming across loud and clear.
There are positives, but no.
See, making the comparisons to Maxi, and you're thinking, do we really need two of them?
Yeah, we can't.
You know,
it's
we've got
already
one,
a challenge
and
to, yeah.
you know, and I personally think Maxi's a better dribbler than Pepe at taking players on as well. It's just that final third, and I just hope that Eddie Howe can work on him in pre-season and get him going. With that
I wish I could say
ball.
the same about Maxi as what Mitch was saying about Pepe, about how he's a beautiful finisher. Because although Maxi does get a lot on target, he does a lot of those shots are those really weak little, poofed kind of at the goalkeeper's hands. He does need to improve that.
Yeah. Foxy says, if you've only watched Pepe from his time at Arsenal, you won't rate him. If you've watched Pepe his whole career, you'll know there's a very good player in there. Just was never worth the huge fee. Absolutely, Foxy. Look, like Mitch said before, there was a reason Arsenal paid that kind of money for him, because he excelled in Ligue 1. But unfortunately, it's one of those things where it just hasn't clicked for him in the Premier League. And, it's a massive risk for us to go and get somebody like that who is very, very similar to Maxi. I would rather keep a hold of Maxi and get him going with his final ball or his finishing product, because I think he's better at, carrying the ball. So it's going to be very interesting to see if we do go for Pepe. Not my kind of player, though. Not my kind of player at all. But time will tell. Let's just buy Ramsdale and Martinelli. I like Martinelli, I have to say. I really do. Good evening, Susan. And a massive thank you to Susan for taking care of me over the weekend. As usual, just a remarkable woman, and thank you so much. It would have been a very scary weekend without you there. So thank you, Susan. Love you to bits. Spider says that so-called official Newcastle podcast is also the so-called official Arsenal podcast as well. How many other clubs are having the same official team name but are not? Why can't it be stopped? Well, at the end of the day, it's probably up to the teams, because, putting official TV means that that's the official one coming out of the club, and it's not. We know that. So I think there will be trouble ahead for them. I have no doubt about it. Right, who's next on the list, Alex?
We have Grimaldo from Benfica. So this is a weird one. We keep getting linked with left backs, like older left backs, despite the Lodi and Target saga.
Yeah,
I don't know why we keep getting linked with other ones, because it's very strongly reported we're in for either Target or Lodi. So, but we'll entertain the idea. Maybe they're just keeping their options open, or maybe this is a story pushed from the other side, just to maybe kick his price up. So I don't know if anybody knows much about Grimaldo, but he's one of those players that for the last season, 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, I always thought he was going to end up somewhere. No disrespect to Benfica, but I thought he was going to go somewhere for a paycheck and to a massive club. And it's kind of just not happened. Amazing left back, quite small, 11 stone at 5'7". I mean, plays in the Portuguese league. Little bit concerned about how he would do defending the back post as well.
Well, exactly. I mean, he's not exactly tall. We've just had a £5 super chat come in from Gary Wishart. Thank you, Gary. He says, allegedly, we have to wait till the end of the month for the new sponsor, and glad to see you back. Where's the new haircut, Alex? You're not going to forget about that.
My haircut's literally fighting in the Ukraine, so I'll wait till I come back to the UK. And
we've had a cracking comment from Roy as well. He says, I'm getting sick of the 300 in the know accounts that most, if not all, know nout. I mean, if the King of Qatar knows nout, then who does? Exactly. Our Middle Eastern correspondent has yet to bring me any news, so nobody's saying it at the minute. Go on, Alex.
This story's from Abola. is the name of the
Ooh.
paper. So it is a
Ooh.
real paper.
Yep.
So yeah, he's about to turn 27. So again, this is like target sort of prime age. I mean, I don't know if anybody's noticed, 5 goals, 5 assists. He contributes offensively, which is really, really nice.
Yeah. It is.
If we go down and have another little look, weird little spiky stat profile. He likes his dribbles. He's intelligent with the interceptions and the I mean, those are still fairly high. I know it's in the 46th percentile, but as a whole, that's quite nice as a fullback. It doesn't scream world class elite, but that's really tidy.
Yeah.
And he's just very, very good, very standard. In terms of similarities, not that many names that people will recognize. Possibly, obviously, Richie's on the list, but that's because Richie does play a good ball. He just couldn't do the left back part of the left back job, which is not his fault.
He's not a left back, is he? That's
well, exactly.
Why.
So he does keep fairly good company on this list. I don't want to entertain this idea too much.
See, whenever you hesitate like that, I get the feeling that it's a no from you.
Have a little look just so people can see. Contracted till June 2023, so we might be able to pick him up fairly cheap. I feel like this is if we can't get who we want, we'll pick him up kind of transfer.
Is he not? Well, would you look at him as a squad player?
Oh no, he's better than
he's better than that.
A lot. Yeah, if he came in, he would want to be starting ahead of target. Like, this kid plays Champions League. He plays high level football. He wants to be lifting trophies. That's the kind of thing he's used to. Benfica are challenging very high up. Benfica have been very good in Europe as well recently. They got through to obviously we've got Nunez there. No, this guy's a winner. They play good football. They're doing very well. He's got a year left on his contract. It wouldn't break the bank. Maybe this is a backup option, but he's ready-made. He really is ready-made.
He's not Lodi though, is he?
In my opinion, though, I feel like the same criticisms could be said about both of them. About can they play in a back four, left back in the Premier League? Both of them have the same question marks based on physicality. Lodi more so because he plays wing back more often than not, and Simeone's favoured other people when he plays a back four. So can this guy do it in the Premier League at 5'7" when he's got to protect the back post? Even Target's struggled. We've conceded goals because Target's been mismatched at the back post this season.
Well, Man City away was a perfect example of that.
If we don't get Lodi or Target, if Target slips through to another club and Lodi's a no, I wouldn't be upset with this transfer. He's an amazing player. I just don't think it's our first choice. And again, we are trying to lower the age of the team because the reserve left back is Dummett and he's in his 30s. So at some point we do need to, this is the identical conversation we're having about centre backs. We're trying to bring in the young ones, and the backups are the older ones, like Ake. Like we need to bring this average age down. We've got such an old squad, especially the defensive line. It is important.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Zishan, thank you very much for your $8.99 super chat. He says, evening, Paul and Alex. Nice to see you back, Paul. Hope you're feeling better. To tell you the truth, mate, I was worried about your blood pressure on the pigeon woman rant. I'm fine, matey. Don't worry. Starting to love this channel. Common sense analysis from genuine fans without the hype. Great stuff. Thank you very much. Just a quick one, guys. If you are enjoying the show and you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We've had an influx of subscribers lately, which is absolutely fantastic. On the road to 12K. Want to get there as soon as we can. So with your help, we'll be able to do that. You can become a member of the Toon Review as well. Just hit that join button. Prizes are regularly given out to members. And also, if you'd like to donate to the channel, which so many people have already done so tonight, please do hit that $sign at the bottom of the live comments, and that'll take you through that way. So thank you in advance for that. And check these out. These are still available.
So let's get down to business. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I'm gonna make that move now. Baby, tell me
So there you go. The toonreview.co.uk for your mugs. We have been, the first batch of orders are now on the way back to us, and we will be shipping them out hopefully the back end of this week. So they should start to arrive on people's doorsteps certainly in the next week or so. So you can all look forward to that. They are on the way to us now to get shipped out. Julie says, "Don't worry, Billy. It was Jubilee Sunday, so don't be disheartened." Exactly. It was a busy bank holiday weekend, wasn't it? Tom says, "Billy on NUFC 3, Barca 2 next week." We shall see. Mike says, "Alex, you should put that shirt on a hanger. I know it's got Northern Rock plastered over it, but it's still a Newcastle shirt."
It's the missus put it through the wash funny, and it's all smeared everything. So it's a dead shirt, unfortunately. It sits there to be in the picture. My nice ones are back in the UK.
I notice you're blaming the missus, of course. Yeah, when she's not there to defend herself. P. Keith says, "Thoroughly enjoyed the game with Billy last night. First time I watched the whole frame since I attended the game. Sorry, great commentary from Billy. I watch all the shows with you guys, and Billy was excellent. He certainly was. Badashil is better than Ake, in my opinion." Yeah, I'd go for that. Callum says, "Video idea for Billy in the future, get him to review on America, watching Newcastle highlights. It's fun to watch and could get a broader audience." Billy was brilliant. Oh, that's a good one. Match on the screen would have been better. Jackie, there was a few comments coming in for that, and we can't, right? We're not allowed because of copyright. And I've checked into this, and those still belong to the Premier League. We can't show it like a proper game. We have to just do commentary. It's just like as if we were doing a live watch along on this day, So unfortunately, we can't put the game on the screen. I know it's on YouTube for everybody to watch, but that's the whole point. You can put YouTube on and listen to Billy's commentary of the games, and that's what makes it so good. But we can't physically broadcast it on our screen, unfortunately. Carl says on another YouTube channel today, Fabrizio Romano said the clubs have agreed fees and terms for Hugo. It was now down to the player and agent. Yeah, so we still don't know yet, do we? Neil Roberts, thank you for your £4.49. Thoughts on Neco Williams? Has played awesome for Fulham and Wales, young and a huge prospect. Indeed, but I don't think he's being linked to us. He has to be linked to get on the show. Trulls thinks it's going to be a surprise, the player coming in first. Well, I guess we'll see. I guess we will see. Ashworth quoted a day, need to trim the professional players by 30%. Dan Brown, thanks for your £5 super chat. Quick Paul's Cabbage Man rant appreciation post. Thank you very much. We must remember it was the Jubilee long weekend, so Billy did good get the amount of viewers. Absolutely. Right, who's next on the list? We've got Christian Ashlani.
Yeah,
Aslani,
so
or whatever he's called.
It's the Albanian John Joe Shelby, basically. So we've been linked with him today. I'm not sure if we were linked with him prior to today. I woke up and he was everywhere. So he's on the list. We'll have a look.
Just before you do, we've had another super chat, £4.49 from Ann Toonami. Hi, Paul and Alex. Hope you're feeling better, Paul. Thanks, Ann. Really appreciate that. Okay, Alex.
Yeah, so he's a young'un. I genuinely hadn't heard of him until today. I've had to dig. I can't follow everybody. I mean, he plays for Empoli. I can't say I've watched any Empoli at all this season because I haven't. So Albanian 20-year-old. He's been somewhat integral. 23 appearances with 1,300 minutes. One goal, one assist. Right-footed, sits in the middle of midfield. And if I scroll down, it's I mean, he's 20. He's not a world beater at the moment, but he plays for Empoli.
There's not a lot of green there.
There's not a lot of green there, but it completely depends on the team, the system, his instruction. Like John Joe Shelby's profile looks like this at times, and we know he can be sort of Hollywood pass, grit. Like it really does depend. You have to take stats with a pinch of salt. There's context. So he's okay. Again, he's not dire at anything. He doesn't pick the ball up and run. So the first thing this shows to me, progressive carries, dribbles, progressive passes received is low, and touches in the attacking penalty area. So these 4 is not a problem. It just means he stays back, very much like John Joe Shelby does. He sits in front as a shield. So the fact that these are low is not a problem. It's just not what his job is. He is a passer of the ball. He's doing 50 attempted passes per 90, which is fine, and his pass completion rate is okay. It's sort of halfway there with people in Europe, and he's fairly switched on with his interceptions. His pressures is not too bad, considering he plays pretty much the same position as John Joe Shelby in terms of shielding a back 4 just in front. So he doesn't want to sprint out and pressure somebody, because then he's leaving a hole. He has to sit. So if I scroll down as well, you can see Douglas Luiz and Shelby. So there are people that tend to sit in front of their defenses. Ruben Neves, as we can see. So we can see by his matches, this is how he plays. It doesn't mean
as good as Ruben Neves. I'll take that any day of the week.
Exactly. It doesn't mean he's bad, because a lot of these stats are funny. It's based on his job role. And if we go and have a look at Empoli, so it's confirmed by the fact that they have 47% average possession this season. They are a defensive team. They don't do very well. They concede 1.8 goals per game, and they finished in 14th, conceding 70 goals in the season. Christian was 10th in terms of their overall stat finishing players. He's all right. He's all right. And as we can see, I've pulled up a game in which they did very well. I mean, they had a shocking run in at the end of the season, but they beat Napoli, which is always impressive, 3-2. And you can see their little formation in a 4-3-3 with him sat in the John Joe Shelby role. This is exactly how we played. The front 3 are a little bit different set up to how we play, but he just sits in front there, has a good rating, sprayed the ball about a bit, has a job. So the stats, I wouldn't be too scared of the stats necessarily, because he does have his own job. He doesn't have a picture either. Let me scroll up so people actually. Where is he? Let's see what there he is. There's his little picture. That's what he looks like. So you got there he is. So a little 20-year-old Albanian. He's not bad. He's all right. His transfer value again is very low. He's a 20-year-old, 14 starts this season. You can see what he does in his heat map. I think this heat map, this is the Napoli game. You can see his heat map. He sits there. John Joe Shelby in a nutshell, literally in front of the back 4. Not as good at his long passes. He takes corner kicks as well, as you can see by the heat map. Interesting shout. Maybe I wonder if this is Dan Ashworth, or I wonder if it's absolute nonsense. It very well could be. So
yeah, indeed. Gary, thank you for your £5 super chat. Says, Paul, where did the barbed wire come from when it came about Bruce's stupidity talking about the Newcastle? It made me laugh. I've no idea, mate. It's similar to my commentary. Sometimes I just spout stuff out and I get told about it later. Zishan, thank you for your £4.49 super chat as well. He says we should go for Diaby as our number 1 target. Imagine Maxi on the left, Diaby on the right. I think Diaby's got a bit of legs. I think we're definitely interested in him. And Jordan, thank you for becoming a new member of the channel. Welcome to the family, buddy. Let's have a look at some more of your comments. Is it true Lucas Paqueta has a €60 million Euro buyout clause?
No, we would have triggered that if that was there.
Definitely. Diaby will be the future for the Toon. Forza Milan, you guys can have Botman. No. I think, a lot of people actually saying and commenting that Botman is a little bit on the slow side. So if he did go to AC Milan, it wouldn't really be any skin off our noses. We'd just go turn our attention elsewhere. A few people have said that, though, when they watched him in the Champions League this season. He's been a bit on the slow side. But
Burns not quick either. I wouldn't say he's slower than Burns.
Hey! Leave Big Dan Burn out of this.
Big for a big man. Big for a big man. Or is he fast for a big man, as they say?
I'm sorry. Were you trying to impersonate me there?
No, that's what everybody says. Fast for a big man, isn't it?
Well, he is. He's quick for a big man. He's got some decent pace about him. Wayne Hennessey did a fantastic job for Wales versus Ukraine. Would he be worth a punt? No, absolutely not. Listen, one good game. He's at quite an age now, Hennessey, I think, as well. He's been around a while. Gary says a player can play poor in one club, but in another club, a player can play class if trained in the right positions, regardless of likes and dislikes, and it all depends on how they fit in with their ability. Loving being linked with everyone, but not panicking. The club know what they're doing, and I'm sure that whoever they bring in will do the business. Absolutely. James loves Grimaldo, so he's definitely a fan of him. Not amazing defensively, but he's quality going forward, pacey and great set pieces. Yeah. Alex Tellez is a better left back, in my opinion, but Grimaldo is very good as well. Apparently, we've agreed a deal in principle to sign Ndikia. Here we go again. Apparently,
that is floating around. There's a bunch of people retweeting the same thing, that we've agreed a deal in principle for £20 million.
So
let's
just wait and see. If he's holding the shirt and the club announce it, then we'll talk about it. As a signing. Excuse me. Sharing these shows on Twitter, picking up loads of followers and some right a-holes. Yeah, you get that on Twitter, mate, undoubtedly. Absolutely. It's full of scumbags as well, unfortunately, Twitter, which is what lets it down. Good evening, Annie. Well done on getting up to 200 subs on your channel, matey. Great news. Keep it going, bud. To be honest, we would be better off paying more for a top quality striker and trying to keep targets. Maybe they are looking at that. Someone tell Grimaldo it's not grim up north. Oh, yeah, see where you're going with that. Sure, I saw Grimaldo in a Harry Potter movie. Jamie says just 40 minutes ago, Romano, who was a trusted source, the Botman came out and said AC Milan, yes, we're working on that. Apparently, Susan's still working on Roy's avatar as our overseas reporter. Would you? Well, you'd probably be looking forward to that, to be honest. Let's have a look. Make sure Roy is wearing I Love Chris Wood t-shirt. Oh, no. Liam says, we have been hearing stuff about Botman, Paqueta, Lottie, Henderson, etc., but wouldn't be surprised if the club are working on something under wraps. That's possibly the case, Alex, because it happened in January, didn't it? We were talking about the players that were being heavily linked with the club, and then they went and brought in some real long shots that we hadn't even heard were happening.
Yeah, well, this is why I've said trust the process and trust what they're doing, because they've got more experience and more experienced eyes helping them now than they did in January. They had a list, and as we all know, I mean, Chris Wood is debatable, but everything worked okay because the scouting is there. I don't think Chris Wood was scouted specifically. It was more of a, we all know the story. It was for Burnley, it was for this, it was for that. But the other four were scouted specifically to do the job and do the job well going forward, and it worked. And they will take the same approach. And I don't think there will be another Chris Wood signing because we have time. So things will be done carefully, and they won't want a repeat of that, I don't think. So obviously, people make mistakes, but we'll be fine. We have a long list of players. We will get some. If we don't get our first choice isn't always the best thing. It completely depends.
Yeah. Dominic says, any news on our old mate Wout Feces? I haven't heard anything actually.
No, that's gone completely
It's gone
quiet
very
as well.
quiet, hasn't it?
I think he plays. Is he Rem as well? I think he plays with the same team as Ekitike, unless I'm making that up. It's too many names. I can't remember them all. I said to Paul, I sent him a WhatsApp group earlier. This is my pad for transfer shows. It's full.
Yeah.
Already, and we've only just finished the season.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Dan Ashworth on his first day of work. Let's get down to business. Indeed, Josh. Indeed. Todd, thank you for your $10 super chat over there in the States, matey. Thank you so much. Hey, Paul and Alex, just joined the show. Who have we talked about on tonight? Well, so far we've had Pepe, we've had Grimaldo. Grimaldo, is it? Yes, Grimaldo. And who was the last one?
Christian Aslani.
That's what he's better with names than I am. There.
Empoli.
He pronounces them right. Ryan says, Alex, what average age would you like to see the squad be at?
I don't know. Lower. That's my answer. Lower than it is right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not really fussed about an average age. Just as long as you've got a good blend there. You know what I mean? Between youth and experience.
It was more the fact that everybody was 30 plus, except the cells, that was an issue. It got a bit worrying when Murphy was nearly 28, Kraft was 28, the centre backs are all 30 plus. Dummett was 30 plus. We're all like
Yeah.
because under what I hate to think what we would have done under Ashley, because he wouldn't have paid out to refresh all of it. He probably would have just left it going, and we'd have had a Burnley. We'd have just fallen through the trapdoor, and because he's not recycled the team properly, and it's a massive sort of overhaul that needs to be done defensively. Not just because we were crap defensively, but because you can't have everybody over 30. It doesn't work.
No. Mark says, well, yeah, there's a lot of this going around today about Carrasco as well, saying that we are looking to trigger the release clause.
He's not on the show today, but
no. But again,
we're all aware of that.
If it does happen, fantastic. But it all depends on whether the player wants to come. So we'll have to do something. We'll have to talk to him, have a good conversation with him, and persuade him to come. Paul Hills, thank you very much. Really kind, buddy. Thank you so much for that. Let's have a look.
I don't
Thibaut
understand the Carrasco thing either. Sorry,
Well,
I just want to say the reason he brought Carrasco back, and he said I think this wasn't in this documentary. I'm pretty sure Simeone's come out and said these words. I need to go and find them, but the conditions upon bringing Carrasco back to Madrid was don't go. That was literally it. If you're going to come back, help me, stay here, don't bugger off. So unless he's U-turned his opinion on Carrasco as a manager, then fair enough. So it is a bit odd.
Yeah, it's a
but
strange
release
one
clauses
for me.
are release clauses,
I saw an interesting stat for Stato. The only player to get better stats in his first season than Eki Teki in the French league was, of course, Kylian Mbappe. I read that today as well, yeah. Diaby news seems to have cooled off. Is the deal off, says Chi? No idea whether it was on in the first place, Chi. That's the thing. When things go quiet, then is it just newspaper reports? Is it not? When deals go quiet, have they actually, were they actually talking? Were they actually discussing anything? We don't know until a deal is confirmed by Newcastle United Football Club. We don't know. It's as simple as that. As a goalkeeper, I wish Newcastle would look at Marchesin. His levels above our league in terms of quality, but Diego Costa was very good, so he couldn't be dropped. Okay.
Is that the keeper's surname? Is it for Porto? Is it Diogo Costa, possibly?
Diogo Costa,
It
yeah.
might be that, yeah.
Yeah, Diogo. Did I say Diego? I meant Diogo.
Diogo. You were right. Diogo. Yeah, it is Diogo Costa is the Porto keeper.
Yeah. Ryan says everyone talks about players, but clearly our number one target should be our hero, Steve Bruce. Yeah, well, he seems to think so, doesn't he? So just absolutely crazy. John says subscribed a few days ago and just realized the join button. Fantastic challenge. Now my daily routine. Cheers, Jordan. Thank you so much. Steve Bruce says he's ready and waiting for Neil to get sacked off Sunderland. Yeah, Sunderland won't even have impact. That's how bad he is. Bale on the right for next season as a stopgap to Diaby, the following one. Hopefully we can qualify for Europe, making us a better prospect. I'm still not convinced of Bale, but hey-ho. Right, Alvaro. Oh, God. Alvaro Morata.
I'm sorry. I know you don't like him, but his name is there. He's on the list. Yeah, so he was on loan at Juventus, has gone back to Madrid. Was that the right way around? That was the right way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 29 and a half. Not the best age profile striker-wise. Obviously, if we do get Ekitike in, then maybe not as much of an issue. So how's he done this season? He's done okay. He's done all right. 2,300 minutes from 35 appearances with 9 goals, 4 assists. He's hitting his XG there or thereabouts. He should have had a couple of more assists, but he overperformed his XG by a couple as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't get as many minutes as he possibly could have done because of Vlahovic coming in January, who we were, of course, also interested in. But in the tail end of the season, he was actually going up front with Vlahovic and outperforming him on occasion, which is interesting. So if I scroll down, you're not going to be as disappointed, honestly. Look at
Alex,
green.
I'm sorry.
So bad.
Right, it's not happening for me. I mean, this guy couldn't score goals for Chelsea in a very good Chelsea side, right? Yeah, he scored a few fantastic. I remember one header, a fantastic header he scored against Man United at Stamford Bridge, but they're very few and far between. And even when I've watched Juventus this past season, he needs about 35 chances to score one. I don't see what he'd bring. I really don't.
Well, this specifically is what he brings. His shot creating actions is rather good at 3 per 90. His general sort of ball carrying and progressing the ball with a pass is also not too bad. He doesn't dribble, but again, that's not how he's ever played. And he's okay defensively as well with sort of 17 pressures. That's only one fewer than Ekitike, and he is nearly 30. So I don't quite understand why he's got this, because he does not play as an attacking midfielder winger. He plays up front. So this is nonsense. It's forward. Maybe he's been out there a couple of times as a stopgap, but he is a forward. So this is the one we should be looking at. And if we do scroll down, he keeps reasonable company with Ollie Watkins, Kai Havertz on there. Breel Mbolo is obviously a big lump up front for Switzerland. Antonio. So he fits those profiles. Iheanacho as well is on there. I didn't see that earlier. And if we dig a little deeper, just because I know you don't like the transfer, I also say no, by the way, before we even look further down. I don't want this transfer. So key passes is very good. So he does bring others into play. Where else was I supposed to be looking? Where are my notes there? Yes. Where are you? Goal and shot creation is also very, very tidy. So shot creating actions from a live ball. So basically he's allowing teammates to get lots of shots off. My hypothesis for this is he was told to feed Vlahovic, I think. I think he's been feeding somebody slightly better than him, because Vlahovic is a monster. I do like this defensive stuff. Very, very, very tidy. He's a great player, but I prefer he was a great player for someone else.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
he performs absolutely fine, but
I think there's better out there we can get. I'm not sold on Morata.
As you said, we've had a recent experience of watching him in a good team. I think he was massively mismanaged, but for his age and for the clubs he's played for, I think he should have been able to deal with it better.
Absolutely.
Like with Madrid and Champions League finals, I don't think there's any excuses for his Chelsea performances. I think he could have pulled a bit more out. So,
definitely. No. Oliver Houston, thank you for your $6.99 Canadian dollars. Said he had a great chat with Alex on Twitter early today about Villa and NUFC fans going at it. Really enjoyed the interaction, so thank you, Alex. Yeah, actually some sensible Villa fans talking about, the media are the ones that are trying to create this rivalry between Newcastle and Villa. We have our banter about them pinching our signings or whatever it is. But at the same time, if you look at the media, they're trying to create a shitstorm between two clubs who are going to, at the end of the day, Villa might threaten the top six as well. You just never know. And I think the mainstream media are panicking about that the beloved Big Six is going to get ripped apart.
Well, there's a lot of it. When they're reporting on transfers, they are listing Man United and Arsenal and missing us off the list when they're doing main news transfers. And we are well in there, and it's frustrating. And this is 100% what I think they're going to do next season is instead of pitching Villa or us up against the Big Six, is they're just going to put us against each other in sort of announcements, threads, stories, interviews, everything. Because they don't want the only people they've ever let do that are Leicester, because it was the dream season and they allow that and they entertain it. But beyond that, they're not happy with Wolves. They don't like it when Wolves threaten. West Ham, to a degree, they treated West Ham fairly well in the media, to be fair, but they were pretty condescending at times. I think we're just going to get played off against Villa by the media next year. I really do. So we've got to be nice to each other. We've got to break into the Big Six ourselves and screw them.
There you go. Stato has spoken. Behave. YT says, is Osimhen still an option for 51 million? Well, he's an option, I suppose. But
he's an option, but we've got to add another 30 or 40 on top of that 51 million. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie says, can you give my best friend a hello? Her name's Laura. She loves watching you guys. Good evening, Laura. Hope you're well. Strange getting shout outs now. It's crazy, isn't it? Can Alex please find out what the name of the Young Boys Stadium and read it out loud, please? Young Boys Stadium. Oh,
No.
don't. No, I know what it is. No, we're not even going there. Paul Tully, thanks for your £10 super chat, buddy. Very, very kind. There's no comment there, but thank you for your donation to the channel, buddy. Andy says, we jumped in too early for Dan Ashworth. Should have held out for Boris Johnson. He'll be available tomorrow. It's looking dodgy, isn't it? We've got another $6.99 Canadian dollars from Oliver Houston. He says, I'm from Newcastle, Ryan. Moved to Alberta for work. Obviously, Ryan's thinking, oh, another Canadian. There you go. What do you think the chances of signing Maxwell Cornet? Well, he's never been mentioned at all, so probably zero, I would imagine. Wasn't it strange? Just looking at the viewers there, we lost about 40-odd viewers at 9 o'clock. Do you know why that is, Alex?
No idea.
Because Love Island starts tonight. Can you believe
should be
that?
ashamed of yourselves.
Some people have gone and watched Love Island. It has gone back up again, but dear. Paul and Alex, do we know how well Munoz has been in the reserves under 21s after he came back from injury? Makes me wonder why. Actually, on Munoz, he scored, didn't he, for Mexico?
Yeah, he scored a penalty in
He
the
did.
under 21. Well, he's playing in the same tournament as Ekitike, but
He
for
is
Mexico.
indeed. Yeah,
and it looks like they're through to the semi-finals as well. So, but I don't know who's playing who or when it is because they won't announce it, and I'm really annoyed. I want to know who's playing who. So maybe there is a possibility that Mexico. So we might have Santiago Munoz against Ekitike. It might happen. So we've definitely got to watch that.
Yeah. Daniel says, proper just turned into an expectant fan base now, haven't you? Will be a process. You're not going to get world class across the line straight away. A few world class, yes, but getting carried away. We're not getting carried away, Daniel. You have to remember, Daniel, the fact of the matter is that, when you've been through 14, 15 years of Mike Ashley, to now be able to talk about, much, much better players, instead of shopping in Pound Stretcher, we can now shop in Harrods and places like that. It's a little bit different for us as a fan base. It's not that we're expectant. We're just excited. And I think that's the difference between the two. There's expectancy and excitement. And a lot of Newcastle fans are there's the odd few that are expecting and demanding this, but, they don't know how the process works. You're right. It is a process. And me and Dad did state when the takeover happened that it will be a slow process. And we just have to go with that. We have to trust in the owners. And that's what we're doing. But it's just nice for us to be able to discuss all these players that we're being linked with. We're not saying on this channel that they're coming or they're signing. We'll do that when they actually sign, when it becomes official.
We can get world-class players as well.
Yeah,
we can. We got Bruno. We got Trippier.
Yeah.
Who both play for their international. They both play internationally. Villa finished way below us. Coutinho should probably be playing in the Champions League, as Kamara is also. Diego Costa challenged for the title. Diego Carlos even. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Sinclair. Diego Carlos also challenged for La Liga. So there's tons of clubs attracting these.
But it's
talents.
it's not expectancy from us, Alex, is it? It's excitement, and it's a new dawn for us because we're not used to this. And this is why we're so excited about the transfer window. Listen, we may only get a couple of players in, but it's a process, and we build. Dan Ashworth today in his interview said Newcastle have bid for Diaby, so it's not off. Did he say that?
Did he?
I don't think did he say that? I don't think he would come out downright and say we've bid for him.
Sounds like something I would have written down if he said that.
Yeah, maybe that we're interested. I don't know. Dominic says Christ on a bike has been seen in West Bromwich looking for cabbages. Some people were commenting on that video saying that they hadn't ever heard of the phrase Christ on a bike, and I don't actually know where it came from. Then again, I don't know where a lot of my phrases come from, but it's
I don't think it's exclusively a northeast thing because I say it as well, and I've said it before.
I've heard
I've
Christ.
been on here.
Yeah, people have said Christ on a bike a few times. Good to watch a show that states it's not in the know, but hoping to see something this time next week. We've always stated that. We're not in the know. And, you know, none of us proclaim to be in the know. We just look at the news from the day. We look at the news of players linked and we think, right, we'll put them in a show. We'll have a look at them. We'll look at the stats and we'll see what they would bring to Newcastle United if they were to sign. But like I say, we're not doing anything on signings until they're official, and then we'll talk about them. Once we see that a deal has been agreed and they're signing, then we'll do a show on the player and, you know, welcome him to Newcastle and all that, and talk about what he's going to bring. So that's how we're going to work it. Ryan says, I've now seen Ekiteke and he's a big, strong lad. Don't lose the ball often and has good skills. Bit like Crouch, but stronger from the looks of it, faster also. Yep, he's a strong lad. Toon Dave, thank you for your £5 super chat. He says, for Alex, Thursday night, France under 20s versus Mexico under 20s. Could well be Munoz and Ekiteke and see what we have go get. Yeah, so brilliant game to watch. Geordie Metal, thanks for your £20 super chat. There's no comment there, but I know you're a big donator to the channel, mate, and thank you for your continued support. Really appreciate that. Right, who's next on the list, Alex? Oh God, I know who's coming here. Is it there ready to go?
It is. It's Gareth Bale. It's Gareth Bale. I want DRB. Just for the record, I want DRB as our right wing for next season. But he's been linked and linked and linked and linked and linked. So, and we haven't looked at him. Mainly because it's really difficult to, because he hasn't played enough minutes to even get any stat.
Mainly because it's a load of shite.
Well, yeah, possibly. It completely depends on. I mean, there's rumors floating around that he's going to play one season more and retire. I don't know if that's confirmed. That's possibly a rumor. I'm not sure. And it depends what he's going to want for wages. I think if we're talking about like Wrexham or Cardiff, he probably wouldn't care. But if he's going to come to anybody competitive, I think he would want a wage that's sort of reflects what he's going to try and give. Is he going to be okay with 140-ish thousand per week or less?
Oh dear, that's terrible, isn't it?
Probably
How would
not.
you survive? Listen,
well,
he doesn't
he's
need
used to
money
5
now,
or
does he?
600,
He
isn't
doesn't need the money. That's the thing.
I think if he was going to compromise on money, though, and go for something what is considered low for a footballer, he would just go to like a Welsh team or like Wrexham for a bit of fun, for the funny. People have suggested maybe there's a golf connection in there. I don't know. This is a lot of stabbing.
He was there with his bloody stupid flag again last night, wasn't it? You know, the Wales, golf, and Madrid. I mean, you know what? I think that's very disrespectful to Real Madrid. I really do, considering he's had some of his best years at Madrid. You know, and he's won a lot of things with them and got a lot of money from that football club. Let's not forget that. So the disrespect is a bit. Yeah.
Let me throw on this because we literally can't get anything from FB Ref because he just doesn't play any matches. So he's 32. He's not that old yet. He's only just turned 32. So he's just not that old. Stats aren't great for ratings aren't great, but heat map plays right wing, left footed, exactly what we need. He is left footed, isn't he? 100. Yeah, of course he is. Yeah. 12 starts. This is the season 1920 because he didn't play enough for me to even say anything. So you've got to take this with a pinch of salt. This was the season before the one that's just finished because it's just not enough to look at if I look at last season. 12 starts, 16 matches with 2 goals, 2 assists. Yeah, he does the business. His output across pretty much every metric is better than what we're getting from somebody like Murphy and Miggy. In terms of his creation and his lethality and his set pieces. I don't want to dive too much into these. I'm not going to talk about stats too much because he's not played enough. And this is also not as appropriate because this is 2 years ago. So, I mean, if I scroll down to this season's... so a lot of people have said to me, oh, he's not injured that much anymore. Okay, then. What's this?
Oh,
this is the last 12 months. That's September, October, November, December. Well, that's pretty much every month. He had a good spell in March when he wasn't injured. So
Yeah,
there's
it's
a lot
winter
of
though. The
niggles
golf
there.
golf courses aren't open there, Alex. You know what I mean? You're frozen golf courses.
I would say if we have an absolute mare in the transfer window and can't get any right-sided players in, and so I would have said yes to signing him for a year, but I can't even say that because of this injury record. I can't, because he's gonna want, if he accepts the wage drop, he's gonna want the same as our highest paid player.
Of course he is.
So he'll be on a minimum of 140,000 ish, 125, 140,000, and I'd take him if he could play a year for us and do a job if we had a mare in the transfer window. But he's not even guaranteed to be able to play if we need him. So we're just probably going to end up playing Miggy or Murphy anyway because he's not going to be fit.
It's going to be interesting though, isn't it? Because it's obviously Wales getting into the World Cup, that kind of changes things a little, doesn't it? Because he's going to want to play.
I mean, for the
surely he's going to want to play competitive football.
Let's swap this to where are we going? Nations League. 4 games, 4 started. How's he doing in Nations League? Not passing a lot. Oh God. What's that about? 0 accurate crosses across 4 games for you. I mean, granted, he plays a lot more further forward. But no, he doesn't. Why has he got 0 crosses in 4 matches from this position on his heat map? No. I'm sorry. I know he is better than anybody on our team. Anybody. He's better than Trippier at set pieces.
On his day. But how many on his days are we going to have?
That's the issue. So on his day, yes, I know there's definitely people in there, out there who like Bale and think I agree with you. He is better than anybody we've got, but he's not going to be able to give that to us.
These people are thinking about the Gareth Bale from a few years ago of what he can do, not the Gareth Bale over the last couple of years.
He can do a lot now. It's just I don't think we're going to get a lot from him.
His heart's not in it for me.
He might make 10 appearances. I mean, even if we.
He'll go to Wrexham. Ryan Reynolds will pay him a decent wage.
I'd love to see him at Wrexham. That would be amazing.
It'd be fantastic for Wrexham Football Club, undoubtedly.
Those poor goalkeepers.
Well, yeah. Yeah, every single free kick would just fly past them.
Every left back.
Yeah. By the way, those of you that give a Pelican's right testicle about Boris Johnson, he has survived. So he's still Prime Minister. And there won't be a leadership election. Liam says, we will bring players in that people turn their noses up at, but look at players like Salah after he went to Liverpool. Trust the board. Matthew says, I'm glad we're getting Ekiteke, but surprised we're paying as much as we are. We're not getting them yet. When he's holding the shirt, let's all jubilantly celebrate the signing.
The price makes sense based on his potential and the teams that were sniffing, which was PSG and Man United. The price makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. Ian from Toon Trader, looking forward to you jumping on with us and Jade on Thursday at 9 p.m, mate. Yeah. Any1 TV, I think, is the name of the channel. I'll be on there at 9 o'clock, celebrating obviously the fact that they hit the target as well, and just talking about various different things with Jade. So looking forward to that as well. There will be a show from us on Thursday night, starting a bit earlier. Not sure what it's going to contain yet, but the way the news is going on, it could be anything. So we just we'll see. Tom says, when Young Boys Stadium was being rebuilt, it hit delays. World Soccer reported it on the headline, Young Boys, yes, Wankdorf erection war. It is known as the Wankdorf Stadium. I don't know who comes up with these names. It really is crazy, to be honest. Signing Morata is as ridiculous as Hillary Clinton having fish and chips in the South Shields chippy. It will never happen. But it did. Would rather watch the Maccas play than Love Island. Steady on. I mean, we're talking Sunderland here. Personally, Larry, I don't care if he said. I completely agree. What did you have you heard the sort of reports about Spurs being interested in Maxi?
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe them. I don't quite understand why, because their front three is nailed on. He's not going to play as a wing back ever. I can't imagine him playing wing back for us. That's terrifying. And he's not going to start ahead of Son or Kulusevski. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or Kane for that matter.
I don't
So
think he's Conte's type of player.
the logical part of the rumor is Bergwijn to Ajax opens up a space that needs filling because they're in the Champions League.
Well, speaking of Bergwijn, Bandar says he asked you about Twitter about Bergwijn. I like him.
It looks
I
like
like
he's
him
going
as a
to
player.
Ajax. He'll either stay at Tottenham or go to Ajax.
Do you think it's a step down for him going to Ajax? And he's still got some decent years ahead of him?
I mean, that's a bit harsh to Ajax, but
well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like Eredivisie, I'm not talking about Ajax as a club because they're massive. You know, don't get me wrong.
I think he was. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the kid that was absolutely bonkers for PSV for a few years, wasn't he? So if it's the same kid, the problem is for him to get regular starts, where's he going to have to drop down to? Wolves, maybe not. Villa have got a lot. We possibly know. How far is he going to have to drop down to get first team right wing?
Yeah.
Possibly further than he wants to in the Premier League. So Ajax makes sense. He's going to be playing for trophies every year and in Europe. The question is, how does that link in with Maxi, I guess? I really can't see it.
I can't see
because he's left-sided. He plays. Yeah. I know people say, "Oh, well, sometimes he looks good on the right wing." He does look good on the right wing, but he wants to play left wing. That's his preferred position. Well, his preferred position is in the middle, but he ain't going to get that. Not under any how.
Listen, I can't see Conte. I just don't see Maxi as a Conte type player. Because Conte would have a heart attack when Maxi wouldn't. I mean, come on,
35 million. We can't replace his output and quality and age.
Absolutely.
Like we're not gonna be able to go with 35 million. We cannot go and buy 25-year-old 10-goal contributions, flair.
Yeah,
it's going to cost more than that to replace his output and more. Like we'll have to go and put 50 up to replace the output. So I don't want to sell him for 30, 35, and it's going to cost us 50 to replace him. That's not good business.
I agree.
It's just, and we need to be careful specifically with the money.
Ian says, Paul John outdid himself today. He said, and I quote, "Everybody has their own contraception. I mean opinion." You've got to love him. You've got to love him. Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, he's right in both senses, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. I guess so. Jack said he'd rather watch an evening with Steve Bruce than Love Island. Paul, my internet just packed in at spot on 9 p.m. Back on now. Of course, the vote was 9 o'clock as well, so a lot of people will probably disappear to see the vote. So not all of them were going to watch Love Island, thankfully. Tom says, guys, I'm sure a lot of us have opinions about what's happened in Parliament, but there's a time and a place. This is about Newcastle and football, so it's not here. Exactly. And personally, I knew that was going to happen. And like I said, I couldn't give a Pelicans right testy. I just can't be bothered with politics. John Joe says, you know how mad it is, the 40 to 50 million pound figures we are talking compared to last year when we was looking in the clearance section. Yeah. And that's a big difference. Oh no,
there are no more now. Unfortunately, we've got. I mean,
do you have any special mentions?
There are a lot more.
Well, there is, but they'll be coming up on future shows.
Yeah, I've got to keep the juicy ones for the next show. So
absolutely.
Rabiot has again been pushed today by more sources, and we looked at him last show. Rabiot. Absolutely, yes. Get him in our midfield like yesterday. He's incredible. Again, every newspaper is saying what I said. They always drop the funny line in that his agent is his mother and funny and difficult to work with, which is true. And then Osimhen as well is the other special mention because his name's come back up again aggressively in the last 2 days. But we've looked at him a lot. He is outstanding. If we can get him for anything reasonable, yes. But yeah, those two are just consistent mentions that keep coming back up. So and that's it really. There are other names, but they will stay in the tank. Unless anybody's got any more names, feel free to tweet me or put them in the comments after the show's ended.
But they have to have been linked though, because we could talk about every single player on the planet. The way things are going.
I've had a lot of people messaging me just like outside shouts, and I love to respond to as many people as I can, but I don't have time to like go and scout. I'm not a scout. I have a job. I'm really sorry, guys. I can't scout everybody. So if they've been linked and you like it and you think I've missed it, sure, 100%. Let me know and I'll have a look for a show. But don't throw 15-year-old wonder kid from Burkina Faso at me because. Sorry.
Well, Adrian thinks we're crazy because Bale would be our best player. Yeah, he would be.
That. We all said that.
It's and Retro Andy says pay as you play contract is the only way I'd take Bale. I was going to mention that, but I don't think Gareth Bale would. I don't think he'd be happy with doing that because he knows that with his injury record, he probably wouldn't get a lot of money if it went down that way. Bale would be a worse signing than Chris Wood. I'm not so sure about that.
He might not, though. If he stayed fit, he might bang 10 in. You don't know with Gareth Bale, and that is the problem. It's a dangerous transfer. Pay as you play, fine, but he's not going to take a pay as you play. He's Gareth Bale. He's not Andy Carroll.
Yes. DMB says Bale plays as an inside forward for Wales, I believe. That's probably why his cross completion seems so poor. Yeah, he does play in a different position internationally.
Yeah, but Maxi's an inside forward. He's an inverted winger, and he crosses the ball.
Yeah. Ryan says, calm down, stats man. You are talking rubbish. I'm not sure who is directing that at.
If you'd have put what I'm talking rubbish about, I could have.
Yes,
said
exactly.
But...
Exactly. Jim says the back room will have 3 or 4 names at all positions we want, so just go with the flow. However, the earlier we get players in, the better. No more 14 games without a win. I think they will be trying to get players in earlier. There's no doubt about that. I would assume that Eddie will want these players in, ready to go for pre-season. He doesn't want to be messing around. There might be the odd player come in once pre-season has started before the window shuts. That generally does happen if negotiations are going on longer.
I do think this Christian Aslani one is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because every other transfer has like a logical story as to why we've been linked, whether it's because they want to offload or there's a price there or there's a lot of talent there. Whereas 14th place Empoli, Christian Aslani in midfield with 20-year-old John Joe Shelby numbers, like, it's a weird one that we've been linked with him. It's really odd. So I'm interested to see if there's any truth in that one because it's I don't know why we've been linked with him if there's no truth, if that makes sense. I'm not saying I think, I'm just saying it's a weird one to be linked with if there's no truth in it because it's such a strange connection.
Absolutely.
And the Grimaldo one maybe is on the list as a backup, but the rest of them.
Well, we just see what the press brings. But that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you very much. Over 900 watching again, which is fantastic stuff. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will be back, obviously, with more transfer shows this week. We are going to do some other shows as well, just to take our mind off the transfers side of things. We're going to look at a best international 11 for Newcastle United in the Premiership era. And some other best 11s as well. So there'll be good shows for you guys to get involved in the live comments and, see whether you agree with our selections or not, which will be really interesting. But if you have enjoyed the show tonight, please do hit the thumbs up button. Let YouTube know that something good is happening on this channel so we get higher up the searches. And if you're new, please do hit the subscribe button. Become a member of the Toon Review if you wish by hitting the join button as well. You can, if you're watching a rerun of the show, still donate to the channel if you hit the $sign with the thanks button next to it, just along from the like button. Thank you to everybody that has donated again tonight. Fantastic generosity again from everybody. Thank you, Alex, and thank you to the mods. Once again, working hard behind the scenes, keeping everything sane in the chat. I'll be on tomorrow night with the Loaded Lads across on their channel, Loaded Mag NUFC. It's an 8 o'clock start tomorrow night, so really looking forward to being on with the guys again. As you know, we're in collaboration with them, so go across and give them a subscribe as well. But we may go live at any time, just depending on any news coming in, or we'll do a video if it's not really big news, but we'll keep you updated on everything. But thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.